Keshe Foundation, an independent, non-profit, non-religious, space-based organization founded by nuclear engineer Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, is introducing to humanity the science of the universe, plasma science. Keshe Foundation develops universal knowledge and space technologies that provide solutions to major global problems, revolutionizing agriculture, health, energy, transportation, materials, and more. The application of plasma science in the form of specially developed plasma reactors and other devices will give humanity the real freedom to travel in deep space. Plasma science exists throughout the whole universe. It is here and it belongs to you. Our knowledge, research, and development regarding the plasma structure has progressed to the point of enabling everyone to participate in the process. Become a creator and understand the work of the universe for the good of humankind on this planet as well as in space. The use of megravs, nanomaterials, GANs, liquid plasma, field plasma, and other plasma technologies have come as a new dawn for humanity to progress and work in harmony with the universe. Conventional technology applications are wasteful, damaging, and cause pollution to the planet and all living beings. Plasma science provides solutions and improves existing methods and use of resources in all aspects that touch the lives of all beings. Plasma is defined by the Foundation as an entire content of fields which accumulate and create matter and is not defined by its physical characteristics like ionization or temperature. Also, with plasma science, we understand how we can convert matter back to the fields. Quoting from Mr. Keshe, MEGRAV stands for magnetic gravitational, which means plasma absorbs or gives. And every plasma has the both. It has give and it has take. And when they can't find the balance, they distance themselves until they find the balance they can give to the others, that they can receive what they want to receive and give further. Certain atoms and molecules release and absorb magnetic or gravitational fields. Released fields are available to be absorbed by other objects. The Keshe Foundation has developed a way to gather these free-flowing fields from the environment within a resourceful and beneficial new state of transitional matter, which M.T. Keshe named GANs. The first step of the process of the formation of various basic types of GANs is nano-coating metals. This is carried out either chemically by etching, steam coating with sodium hydroxide, or thermally by heating, fire coating by gas burner. During either coating process, gaps between outermost layers of atoms are created. The residual coating is often referred to as nano-coating, defined by the structured layers of nanomaterial, which build up during the creation process of the coating. Nano-coated metal in interaction with other various metal plates in a saltwater solution creates MEGRAV fields. These fields then attract available elements to form a specific GANs, which collects and settles at the bottom of the container. This GANs is formed from independent energized molecules like little suns that can be used in various applications.
The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to medical doctors of any practice and specialty to apply to the Foundation's private weekly medical teaching workshop. This includes medical doctors, dentists, and veterinarians. Scientists of the Keshe Foundation developed different types of plasma therapies and cures that utilize advanced, non-invasive plasma technology. The weekly private medical teaching workshop educates doctors to the plasma science behind the therapies, along with the functionality and operation of revolutionary plasma medical devices. The goal of the private teachings is to add plasma health knowledge to the profound knowledge of medical doctors. The weekly class is broadcast live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central European Time. Presently, the class is only offered in English. However, you are free to bring a translator to the class. If you can't participate in the live broadcast, you can watch them later at your convenience through a private internet portal. Every patient's case that is discussed in the workshop will be kept anonymous and private. This includes cataloged findings and data gained from the analysis of the patient's health issues. Any medical doctor in the world who wants to participate can do so by sending an email to doctors@spaceshipinstitute.org. In your email, please state your willingness to participate in the medical teaching workshop. If you're planning on bringing a translator to the workshop, please state this in your email as well. After we receive your email, we will contact you with the instructions on how to apply to the workshop. As a part of the application process, applicants who apply, including any translators brought into the workshop, will be required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. All applicants will be required to provide proof of their education and ability to practice medicine, and will also be required to pass an extensive security background check before they are granted access to the teaching workshop. Healthful plasma technology is here, now, the use of which is increasing exponentially on a day-to-day basis on every continent. We encourage you to come and learn about this revolutionary technology. Apply today. The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to experienced farmers, agricultural specialists, and researchers to apply to the Foundation's private weekly agriculture teaching workshops. If you fall into one of these categories and are interested in plasma technology integration into agriculture, you're invited to apply. Scientists and agricultural practitioners of the Keshe Foundation continually develop and apply new methods of food and fiber production, soil fertility management, plant and livestock health management, and increased farm productivity using the most advanced plasma technology that is taught at the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. In the teaching workshop, you'll learn the science of plasma technology and its applications in the field of agriculture for enhanced and equitable global food production while minimizing costs and external inputs. Practicing farmers and Keshe Foundation scientists will demonstrate their application of plasma technology in agriculture and the ensuing results of such applications, thus deepening and enriching learning for all participants in the private teachings. Participants are encouraged to demonstrate their farming practices in the teaching workshop. The private teachings are broadcast in English live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central European Time. If necessary, you may bring a translator to the workshop. All applications are required to provide proof of their education and professional qualifications, must pass a security background check, and are required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. Translators that attend must also pass a security check and sign the World Peace Treaty. For details on how to join the private teachings in agriculture, send an email to agriculture@kfssi.org stating that you'd like to participate. Include in the email your education and agricultural experience and reasons for your interest in plasma technology. Applicants will be contacted with further instructions and details on the application process.
Welcome everyone to the 176th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday. It's actually June 15th, 2017. And for today's workshop, we have the title is The Blueprint for Peace in the Islamic World. And we have Mr. Keshe ready to begin today's workshop, I believe. Mr. Keshe, I think I hear you there.
Yep. Good morning, good day to you as usual, whenever we listen to these teachings. This is part of the knowledge workshops, and we do mix sometimes the blueprints or what is brought into the foundation as what is necessary to be shared publicly, that it can change the structure. Today, as normal, we have a blueprint which has come through and be seen because of the situation in the Middle East, and has been set in and been in so many ways inspired by the member of the Earth Council, Dr. Paz Rashad, where he is and he lives amongst in Middle East, in the mayhem which has been created. And he has seen and he sees how the whole Islamic world has turned on each other. He's made in a very direct and explanation of the situation in Middle East, in Emirates, how Muslims have turned against each other. Brothers have turned against each other, and he sees it as unjust. And as a member of the Earth Council, as they are responsible for the whole what we call the security and operation of this planet, the 6 members, they have asked, and in so many ways, for help in the way of how can we change the situation. It's become daily occurrence, more or less. Muslims at each other's throat, Jews with the Muslims, Christians against Christians, and in all sorts of ways. The name of God has become a passage for killing. And so we have called this blueprint for peace in the Islamic world. In the past few days, the members of the core team, the Earth Council and the Universal Council met. Dr. Parviz put his case to, or he explained the case, what is happening. And it was decided with what we thought it'd be a blueprint for peace. What does this mean? Is that you will hear new ways, new approach, not by marching, not by dividing, not by becoming more and more in what we have, what we need, but becoming part of the whole setup of us understanding where we have gone wrong or where we have used the name of God in going wrong. I leave it to the Secretary General of the Universal Council to take the theme up. It is their program. It's a program of what we hear very regularly from now on. How the administrative and executive of the Keshe Foundation, which is set to become the world organization in coming time, through the ethos of peace, they see it needs to be done. What needs to be done? There has been daily discussions and everything has been set by them. Before they start, there is one point which we have to clear. Last week we requested a number of Keshe Foundation supporters to attend the court in Kortrijk for what was said. The court is related the 26th of June, giving our lawyers to set out the evidence that the court can understand. In that court, it became very clear that Mr. Laurensens has been part of the structure of the Belgian police and what we call defecting the Keshe Foundation from the beginning. His working and close collaboration with the police was very clear that he is part of it. He's now has opened his hand, who it is. We bless your soul. You have served the foundation well. And in this process, you're still serving the foundation well. There has been a lot of intimidation, and we have a member who has been there. About 6 or 7 people attended the court to be there. We need more people if you can. That the structure, they set up that is one-man band, and it's as Mr. Laurensens stood up making a fool of himself in the court, that Mr. Keshe thinks he's above the court, above your judge, and he's going to destroy you, and the rest of the what we call rubbish he came out with made it more embarrassing than anything else. And walking around with the 2 police officers in the court showed exactly as we said. He didn't make allegation. As we leave in more room, the more it becomes apparent how we've been infiltrated for years. And as we said, the courts in Italy are busy with prime first attempted murder by himself and second attempted murder as a joint collaborator. All the documents will be submitted to the Italian court in the coming time. And we leave it to him, we bless his soul. He needs elevation, he's serving still well, even though he thinks it's against. He's filtering, as he said once, I'm here to protect you, to get rid of all the damages. So he's doing the job very well. But it made clear that what we said from the beginning was correct. He is part of the Belgian structure. And he was set in, he was brought in. And the evidence in court shows clearly how he received documents from us to write some huge number of documents, to write the patent, so that knowledge is not his, he had nothing to do with it. As we said here, he writes 2 patents, one for his people and one for the inventor. We received the inventor part, the original has gone to his people. He was brought by this structure to the foundation, and he has served them well, most probably. But that's irrelevant. We have to be correct, we stay correct, and we bless his soul. He needs a lot of support to do more, write more, that he opens more for us. And as we saw, it's not us, the people who were in the court have seen him, how closely he's connected to the police. He's being with them all the time, being told what to say to the judge and how trying to disturb, even he's not part of the case. Sitting with the lawyers of the, what you call, the other side. He always been on the other side, but this time he has openly sat with them and worked with them. This is good for us. And it's good for the foundation. We have a member, we've been told, that was present, if he wants to explain to us what happened in the court. If he's in the background, if you like to raise your hand. Can you see him behind? Rick?
Sorry, who was the person?
This is a gentleman who's been in the court.
Is it Pat?
Yes,
Pat P? So. Okay, I can promote them to panelists.
He can tell us what happened, that we all understand. This is not to do, it's a close, perfect intimidation. It's a work of a state against a scientist. That's all it is, and they've shown how they operate. We'll let him explain to you what happened in the court, and it is what is amazing. We have informed the International Court of Justice, and we have informed the Interpol. It's the first time ever in the history that police has asked for ID of those who go into the court and they've taken a copy of. This is how intimidating it is. Never been heard anybody wants to go into court to sit, have been asked for the ID. This is how bad it is. Let them explain and then we go through it, please. Is he there?
Hi, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, can you speak a bit louder, please?
Yeah. Mr. Keshe,
good morning. Can you tell us who you are and what you have to tell us?
I'm Patrick from Belgium. We have a group here, Keshe followers. We have a monthly meeting every month to talk about things going on and all this.
Can you speak a bit clearer? We can't hear you.
Yeah. And yeah, we went with part of our group to the court in Kortrijk on Monday. And yeah, most of the people, it was the first time to go to court because we just normal people, we're not used to being in court. So we don't know exactly how it works in court. So we went in and we were searching for Mr. Keshe's lawyer. It took a while. We were asking other lawyers for the Mr. Keshe's lawyer, and then we wanted to go in the room where the case was going to happen, and then 2 guys came to us, showed 2 seconds a badge to us, it's a sort of police badge. And he said to us, yeah, you have to give your passport before you can go in the room. But we thought it's a normal situation maybe in this court, so we gave all our passports, and then we saw that they took copies of it. And then they gave our passport back, and then we went in the room waiting for the case. And yeah, there were other cases going on, so we said, yeah, we go outside again and try to find the lawyer of Mr. Keshe. Then we saw that people were walking in and out the room, and nobody else had to give a passport. So we start realizing that only we had to give a passport to go in the room. So it was it was a strange feeling, a bit weird. And then we were noticing that people were looking to us, watching us, and the two guys. And so then we saw we went all in together. Mr. Keshe's lawyer said, yeah, it starts at around 10. We all went in the room, and then the case started. The guys that had asked our passports came in the room also. They were standing behind our group. And then the case started, and after the case we went outside and we asked our Mr. Keshe's lawyer, is it normal that we have to give a passport before we can enter the room? And yeah, the lawyer seems a bit nervous to me. He didn't know what to say. He said, yeah, this is a special case. He said, but don't worry too much about the passport. There's no problem. So then we started realizing that they were all watching us, and that they were very intimidated because we were there. We heard also the lawyer of Mr. DL saying to the judge that Mr. Keshe is sending his followers to the court, and my client doesn't feel good with it, with all the situation. So we started realizing that there was a lot of attention coming to us about everything that was going on. And yeah, that was it. We went outside and we have talked a bit. It was all a bit weird. The whole thing was a strange experience. Also, when we went out the court, the case was we went out and Mr. DL took a picture of our whole group. Yeah, it's a weird situation it was, but yeah, we were not in fear or whatever. We didn't do anything wrong. We were just following a case. Everybody can go in the room and follow a case. So yeah, we are not criminals. So yeah, that was it.
This is the intimidation which has happened with all the Keshe Foundation followers. Thank you very much for being there. Please go back on the 26th that we see what will come and what will be decided. It is important that we realize, according to the international law, it's a crime committed by the police. Intimidation in the court of law is a criminal offense. perjury. And I think you saw Mr. Lorenz with the police, as we read in other reports which received. Am I correct? Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Sorry,
Yes.
I didn't.
I said you saw Mr. Lorenz with the police, with the two police officers.
Yes, yes, yes. They were standing together after the case.
You see, this is what we saw. Thank you very much for going there. I know we have huge number of supporters in Belgium. They've been all intimidated. Don't worry. I thank you all being there. Please go back on the 26 again. We have submitted our case into 3 courts at the moment simultaneously. That the Court of Belgium decision will be in line with the other 2. At the moment, what we have seen is what we said. Never ever been heard, even in presidential court cases, people's ID being taken. When I spoke with an American lawyer, he said when we had President Clinton giving evidence, no one's documents were ever photographed. This shows the level of criminality which they think they have a freedom to run in Belgium. But as we said, as you said, he is closely stands with the police, he works with them, he's been part of them. He fooled us to get in, but with bless his soul. He's done a lot of good for the foundation and is still doing good. He doesn't realize how. But on the other hand, I would like to thank you and the others who went there. Please go back again on 26 till we see what the judge decides when the evidence is given. Thank you very much indeed, Patrick, and to all the ladies and the other gentlemen who were with you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed. We don't have much to say. It was just, if we said, you all said we are phobic, but now you understand how Keshe Foundation supporters in Belgium are under pressure. We have asked for a number of governments to intervene, and we will see how it will happen, because police cannot intimidate in the court of law. It did not happen during the Roman time. It did not happen in a barbarian time. It happens in the lowest nation, police wars in Belgium. Intimidation, criminality, and everything else. We pray, and as I said, we hope we raise the soul of the King of Belgium, that he does the justice to himself and to his nation and humanity. There is a lot to gain and there is a lot to lose, but on the other hand, the most important thing we've seen out of this case on the last Monday is DL has shown his true hand. He is and has been with the group. We never made the allegation. Now there's 7 people plus lawyer who can give evidence in the court of law, in the international court of law, that he is a collaborator and he is, as what we call, working for the same people. He was brought in to infiltrate and everything else. He is clearly accused and he'll be brought to court for himself handling and literally administering poison to kill, and second time being part of a team to administer a kill, and the third time in killing of Fabio. We leave this case as it is. We come to it on 26, and please go to court. Don't be intimidated, because that's how they managed to kill many scientists and destroy many sciences. But this is a science of man and not belongs to one criminal. And one criminal who has tried and written 2 patents, one for himself and one for the others. As we know, he took one of the patents to China called Casimir effect, copy of the Keshe Foundation system. And luckily Arman was there and opened his hand. He relies on the supporters to be bribed and be taken down. And he has worked with all the others done. But this time, he has to stand. We've seen exactly the same operation we saw Alan Sterling weeks and days before he was arrested and committed to life imprisonment. He wrote like DL unrelentlessly trying. This is out of panic and desperation. Now that they know the situation, they think they're winning, but on the other hand, there are laws that cover humanity. Saddam killed many, but he could not understand the justice of the United, what we call nations of the world, when he walked into the court. This is, he is no bigger and no better, not even a king of the smallest nation on this planet. We go to the main part of this teaching, which is blueprint for peace in the Islamic world. Why do we call it the blueprint? The blueprint for peace is important because humanity has lost track of how to do things in the correct way. What we have seen, and in the discussion will come today, we have to learn one thing, and that is the soul of the man is the ethos of the man, the work of the man, the reality existence of the man. What we have seen in the past few months, we've seen it in past few weeks, and we've seen it in past times, is that how by encouragement of one nation, one religion, the other religions are full to attack each other and destroy each other. But the essence of the soul of a religion goes to the writing and not to the people. The writing of the Prophet. As we said, the Keshe Foundation is establishing one nation, one race, one planet. To create one race, we have to understand the divisions within the race. Otherwise, we are whitewashing the truth. And then the problems will come further on down the line. What we see as a separation of the religions in name, be it Christianity, Buddhism, or whatever, in essence is the path to one person, to one entity, to one being, and that's the Creator. We have chosen different paths in different ways, and some of the prophets have learned from the others and they added to. But all this has been for the physicality of the man. How to conduct himself in physical life, that when he understands the true essence of his creation, he can conduct his soul the correct way. In so many ways, when you have a correct conduct, you have a correct soul. The soul does not have much to lose. In essence of writing by the prophets of God, does not matter who and what you call them. As the time has passed, different people with different ways of interest separating themselves have brought division. None of them has divided the book, but they have used the book to divide the race. In Islam, we see is not written anything in Quran, blessed his name, by Muhammad, that there shall be division. Division in Islam has come out of who could be benefited by what at what point, that he could prove that he could exist. We've seen many sects in Islam, we see many sects in Christianity, we see many sects in Judaism and the others. And when you look at it, they all have come, these divisions, out of the greed of the man and not from the writing of the book. Therefore, what we have to do and what is necessary to do, the blueprint, what we call peace in the Islamic world, is to invite the Islamic world to go back to the book and not to the dividers of the book. Go back to the writing of the book and not who became first, who came second, which way to pray, what sentences to add. If you believe in a man, you have to believe in his work and not those who have tampered with it. We see Sunni as sect, as part, as the major part of the structure of the writing in Quran. They go by historical, but at the same time they have made some divisions for themselves in how they interpreted the writing. Those of you who are not familiar with the Islamic world, you understand, most of the Islamic world has come out of personal vendetta, nothing else. The division in Shia and Sunni, Shia is about 5% of the Islamic world. Sunnis are about 95%, 90%, and there are some other divisions. The Shia sect has come out of personality, where Sunni comes historical line. Muhammad, his name, has written, has spoken his word. His writing were then written some 40 years later, as they call hadith, which means these are the things which has been said by the Prophet, what we remember. It does not matter how they tampered with it, they added to it or took it away. The book has written in the word of His name, Muhammad. Then, in this point, as he was alive, his descendants went the path of the historical path. But his bloodline, they said, no, it has to go our way. It has to go down the bloodline through his children, through his grandchildren, and then great-grandchildren by 11th fold, which goes up to the 11th Imam, and then the 12th, which has gone missing, waiting to appear as Mahdi in the coming time, when the man is ready to unify his soul and his body, physicality together, which is the time of now. In essence, the division has come for those who follow the family and those who follow the administrative side. When Muhammad declared himself as a messenger of God, he had his uncles with him. Those are the ones who stood by him, accepted his message. Then when he had children, his daughter married to a man, and the cousin who married the daughter of the Prophet claims to be the next one in line. Where in fact, in reality, the uncle and the same after him stood in line next to Muhammad. There were no son-in-laws and there were no daughters at that time, to could be. And then the grandchildren has lined up one after another. They're called 12 Imams. At the moment, what we see in conflict in Middle East is a war between religion, within the religion, where anyone who supports the family of the Prophet, which is Shias, is vindicted by those who go down the historical line. But in fact, they are both wrong. Who followed does not count. What is written counts. What is the message of the Prophet counts. This is the blueprint of peace. We invite the Islamic world to put their pens down in who, but in what is written by His name, Muhammad. And that has to become the blueprint of peace in the Islamic world. Everyone has divided because it suited them one way or another. We see the same in Christianity. It's in the writing that the ships of the name of Christ will be carried by 72 ships or boats. So there are 72 divisions in Christianity too, and more. And this, we use this section is to elevate the soul of all the Muslims on this planet, to unify and to become part of the reality that the book which counts, the writing in the book which counts, not in how, in where and who divided it. The unification of the one religion is the cornerstones of the world peace. Because when they understand they are one, and it's the book which counts and nothing else, then we achieve a major goal. This means we have managed to elevate the soul of the Islamic world. The ones who believe in the path of Muhammad, bless his name, have matured to understand the unity. And this is needed now. I've been invited and I've been given clearance to go to Iran. Yesterday I had the pleasure to be in the Iranian embassy in Accra. And this time I don't go to Iran the way I went last time with a white ticket. I go to Iran with the full knowledge of governments. We are going there to teach, to learn, to spread the knowledge of peace through the technology. I invited you to the court to support us. When I know the date, I invite you to join me in Iran. Hopefully from Tehran we fly to Saudi Arabia. The process of peace has to come from Keshe Foundation. Strange enough, what we see in the conflict in Saudi Arabia, which is created to Qatar, to Iran, and Middle East, and others who could use different name of Islam, have created all names from it, from terrorists to ISIS, to Muslims, to those who wear and call God Allahu Akbar, which means God is great. All have to become one. It's our job, with the number of the followers we have around the world, to give to the soul of every Muslim on this planet. And the Muslims who are our followers give to the soul of yourselves and the followers of Muhammad, to elevate the soul of the totality of the Islamic world, to understand the unity of the book and the man, and not the greed of his servants. The same message goes to the Christians. Those of you who are Muslim or Jews, listen to these teachings. You have to give to the Christians that they become one, and they go back to the essence of writing of the Bible with the blessed name Christ. This time, we have the same problem with the Jews. There are many Jews, many sects in Jews. It's the job of the Christians and the Muslims and Buddhists to give from your soul to the Christianity, to become one and go back to the book. This is the blueprint for peace. This is how we have to go. Because when the followers of these path of belief and many other faiths we see around the world become to understand it's the book which counts and not the followers, then in time they come to realize all the books are one. And that is the true point of understanding. And then in that point to realize that all the books are one, then they realize the man is one. I made the man in the image of myself. And this is the purpose of this blueprint. We hear from the General Secretary, we will hear from their excellencies, the members of the Earth Council. We shall hear from the members of the Universal Council. We hear from the members of the core team, and their wishes will change humanity. Today is a turning point for humanity, where we throw the tools of war and aggression to the exchange for the tool of the soul of the man to elevate the other. A man who can give from his soul to his enemy to elevate him to become his friend is the true man. not the man who chooses a gun, who chooses the pain and suffering of the physicality of the other. I give from my soul to the rulers of Saudi Arabia, that in the elevation of their soul, they understand there is no need to create suffering for the others who you relied on for the growth of your own structure. Dr. Harris, His Excellency, will explain to us what is the position now in Middle East, how they are closing borders, how they are putting people out of their livelihood just because to prove they are more powerful. My hand goes to the Iranian government, to His Excellency President Rouhani and His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei. Respond to Saudi Arabia with one thing, with a word of peace, and the way we do Iranians, offer them on a peace. Offer them on a piece of mission to Tehran and show them the hospitality and the love of the Iranian culture, not the name of Shia or Sunni, as they are all one. The response by becoming tic-tacking does nothing but suffering for the others. My advice to my government is very simple. Send what we call the Roses of Love to Saudi Arabia and to the Persian Gulf, and invite them on the peace table, and let those who were seeding the haterism in amongst the man by the name of the religion because it's benefited them more, to be ashamed of themselves. As I said very recently, what here as ISIS was set up by Israel. ISIS is Israeli Central Intelligence Services. And then now Iran is accused of funding it. Open up your books, and what I said to our colleagues very recently, if Iran is feeding this, what they call phantom imaginary organization, which is out of nowhere created itself, then it must be the Iranian Jews who are doing it, not the Islamic world. If they can show a track of financing this organization, then it has to come from the Jewish accounts, not from the Iranian accounts. So even though I come from the Iranian Jewish blood, I have one answer. Send them the bouquet of love and gratitude, and invite the Saudi leaders, the Emirate leaders to Tehran. Not for a peace talk, for unification of Islam. It takes a lot, and maybe this is the last mission Ayatollah Khamenei has to do before his cancer, which is highly advanced, to take over. Unification of Islam through the blueprint of peace of the soul of the man is the key to the end of wars inside any religion. Is not submission, but it shows the greatness in accepting the book and not the followers of the book, or the greed of their time. It is our job as the followers of the Keshe Foundation, now that we understand the soul of the man is in the center of the brain of the man, and is the dictator of the behavior and physicality of the man, for the soul of the man to give, to elevate the soul of the others that they see in the light of themselves. We see one counselor, one member of the council for one continent. From this we understand the soul of the man is so strong that it can feed the whole planet. It's for us to unite and bring this peace forward. Peace will not come by talking. Peace will not come by taking guns and fighting to fight to have peace. When you fight to have peace, you have already lost the peace. When you have to fight for a relationship, that relationship is already lost. When you fight, when you take a soul of the man, you are responsible for that soul. And the sooner the world leaders understand this, the sooner man will walk the path of peace. When a man has shoot, or has to shoot another man for him to stay alive, when a man has to shoot for him to show he's more powerful, that man become responsible for the soul he has taken, and the soul of the children or the family of the man is taken. That's why we see so many soldiers who go back to the United States become demented. They become crazy. Because they have killed the soul, they have killed the body, which they are responsible for the soul, and their soul cannot handle it. The world leaders should understand this, that they cannot put souls in these conditions for them to have a comfortable bed to sleep in and think they are the rulers. When you kill in the name of the same path, the giving is much harder because it's of the same strength. Those who create closing borders by order, they do the same. When a single child suffers because of that closure, not seeing the father, not getting food or medicine that he has to suffer, the pain of that soul is payable by the leaders of the nation who have caused it. We have to understand the game has changed, and now every man is responsible for the totality, and especially the totality of what they have confirmed and conferred themselves to. As I said in the meeting, and I said before, now we show our strength as a Keshe Foundation. Those of you who are Jews, those of you who are Christians, at this moment we see pain in a member of our family, which is the Islamic world. Give from your soul to our Muslim soul's path of belief, that they elevate, that through it we shall elevate as a human race. The strangest thing is, when has ever been conflict, it has been taken on the floor of United Nations. But now that the conflict inside the Islamic world, and to the benefit of those who call themselves European and Western countries, nothing is taking place as such. Let them fight. When they divide, we collect the crumbs. But there shall be no fight. Write and deliver the papers which has been shown today to every embassy, ambassador, Islamic and Christians, and ask the Christian world to give to the Islamic world, that they find peace through their soul, and they will achieve it. The work of the soul of the man as one nation falls on the Universal Council. I step down and let the General Secretary of the Universal Council to take over, and we hear and we listen and we read the wishes of different councils, which now have taken operation on this planet and gradually will take over the whole operation. This is where we'll go. The revolution will come through the soul of the man without a single bullet, as the guns do not exist. Sandy, are you there to take over?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very
Morning,
much.
sir. Thank you very much indeed for being there. And I'll leave the floor to you and Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I'd like to describe the process that went on to create the documents you're going to hear this morning. The process has really touched all those that were part of it, and the number is actually quite large. I would imagine, just offhand, there was probably about a good 10 to 12 people involved at different times. We really couldn't get everyone together all the time. So it was difficult at first to sort of coordinate all the efforts, but it all worked out. At first, we weren't really sure where we were headed. But the process came to us, and it became clear that we first needed to understand who we were writing to. And we spent a lot of time discussing the Islamic culture and heard from people in the culture so that we could have an understanding of the audience we were going to be addressing with these letters. We certainly didn't want to do something that would be disrespectful to them. So we wanted to make sure that we were approaching this in a way that says, we care about you, we respect you and your culture, but we do want to communicate with you. So a lot of time was spent making sure that we were truly in peace as we were addressing this letter, that we were joining with the Muslims and the Islamic cultures. The first letter, maybe Rick, if you could pull it up so everyone can see it while I read it. Is that possible?
Yes. Yes, certainly. I'll get it on the screen now.
Thanks. The first letter was done by a collaborative effort between the core team, Universal Council, and Earth Council. And we worked, there's a lot of hours into this. Every word was looked at very carefully to be sure that we were giving from our soul. We appreciate the strength of our intention from our soul. That's what we understand and know to be our power. So we worked hard at being sure that we were correct in how we were approaching this writing. It goes, a call for all Muslims and Islamic countries worldwide to unite in peace. Brothers and sisters, world peace is the goal of the Keshe Foundation and associated councils. To this end, we wish for unification and peace for all Muslims and for the world in general. We recognize that when one Muslim suffers war and destruction, then all Muslims suffer and all humanity is affected. All life is sacred and needs to be cared for and allowed to exist in peace and harmony. The Keshe Foundation offers new opportunities for peace. The World Peace Treaty is one of the important instruments for achieving this purpose. It has been signed and accepted by many people and nations around the world. A copy of the treaty is attached. Let us work together to achieve global peace for all humanity. Respectfully, Keshe Foundation, Universal Council, Earth Council, and Core Team. I like to say that we approached this letter very sort of generically. We knew it would be part of a package, and part of that package would be a more formal document that we would call the blueprint for the Islamic countries. This actual blueprint is something we're going to be working on in the days coming. But this is the letter that we wanted to state with it, that we just want to reach and say we care, and we want all to know that we're all connected. As Mr. Keshe said, this initiative started through the Earth Council. But then, because it is directed towards the Muslims, we have asked our Arabic language member to address this issue also. Jamila, if you're available, I would like for her to read to you her letter.
I'll put up that letter now in Arabic. I believe that's let me see here. Go.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Jamila. I'd like you to ask you to read both in your native language and the English language if you're comfortable.
In Arabic?
Yes, please. And in English if you're comfortable.
Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعزائي مسلمي العالم، قلبي مثقل وحزين. البؤس، الصراع، الظلم والمعاناة هي الصور التي تسيء إلى نفوسنا كل يوم. لقد مكن صمتنا وانقساماتنا وسمح عدم اهتمامنا للانتهازية من الاستقواء، كما ساهم كل ذلك في ضياع شبابنا وسقوطه ضحية بين مخالب الوحوش التي لا تقهر. لقد سرق منا ديننا الإسلامي بسبب ابتعادنا عنه وعن تعاليمه السمحة. يا أعزائي مسلمي العالم، أسمع هذا البكاء من التمرد الذي يرتفع صوته فيكم، وأنا أفهمكم. ككل باقي الإلهامات المقدسة الكبرى في العالم، الإسلام طوال تاريخه كان الحب، السلام، العدالة والجمال. الإسلام دل الإنسانية بعزم وقوة على طريق سر الوجود. لقد لقننا نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم طريق السلام من خلال محبة الآخرين. فالإسلام بالتعريف هو السلام، والذي يرشدنا إلى كل خطوة من خطواتنا. الأحبة إخواني وأخواتي، فلنتذكر كيف كنا عندما تشبثنا وبدون انحراف برسالة محمد عليه السلام وخطاه. فأشرقت حضارتنا بالمعرفة من خلال معرفتنا للعلوم، من خلال تسامحنا واحترام الشعوب. المحبة والسلام عمت عبر الإسلام، وقد غزت قلوبنا في كل القارات ليصل عدد المسلمين 1,700,000,000. قبل 1438 سنة أعطي ضوء السلام والاحترام لمحمد عليه الصلاة والسلام لتوجيه الإنسانية. ذاك الضوء كان وظل ينمو ويعيش من خلال قلوبنا وأعمالنا. إذن أتوسل إليكم أيها العالم الإسلامي، توحدوا للسلام. لا تكن مضللا، لا تبهر بالمادية، لا تدع الانتقام يأخذك، لا تدع الدمار يغزوك. دع السلام يفيض إليك، دع الحب يغزوك، دع روحك تترفع. أودع الإسلام للأطفال. ثم أتوسل إليكم أيها العالم الإسلامي، توحدوا للحب. دعونا نفتح قلوبنا، دعونا نفتح أذرعنا، دعونا نفتح عقولنا لكل الرسائل التي جاءت بها الكتب المقدسة والتي لا تزال ضمن الإسلام. هذه الوحدة هي المكافأة التي سوف نفخر بتقديمها لأطفالنا باعتبارها إرثاً لعالم سلمي وفاضل. الإخوة والأخوات، نحن ضوء الإسلام، فلنتحد ونتقاسم نفس المسعى بثقافاتنا المتعددة، أقوياء باتحادنا لا متفرقين ضعفاء. رجاؤنا عودة العالم الإسلامي إلى الدعوة الأصلية للإسلام وتعاليم النبي محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام حول السلام والتسامح. فلنعمل معا لتحقيق هذا الهدف بمساندة مؤسسة كيش العالمية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
Thank you, Jamila. Will you read it in English for us also?
Okay.
Thank you. Rick, would you please pull up the second document of that file?
Yes, just getting that up now.
I appreciate this, Jamila. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear Muslim world, my heart is heavy and sad. Misery, conflict, injustice, and suffering are the images that offend our souls each day. Our silence, our division, our gaze diverted has enabled the shame to take place. Our youth is sacrificed, abandoned to clouds of indomitable monsters. Our eyes have been diverted and have left Islam to become diverted. I hear this cry of revolt which rises in you, oh my dear Muslim world. And I understand you as each of the other large sacred inspiration of the world. Islam throughout its history has been love, peace, justice, and beauty. Islam has powerfully informed the human being on the path of the mystery of existence. Our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has transmitted to us the path of peace through the love of others. Islam, by definition, is peace and guides each of our steps. Beloved brothers and sisters, we remember when we follow without deviance the word of Muhammad ﷺ, our civilization has shown by our knowledge of science, by our tolerance, the respect of the people, the love and peace spread across the whole Islam and has conquered our heart in every continent. 1,438 years ago, a light of peace and respect has been given to Muhammad ﷺ to guide humanity. This light grows and lives through our heart and our acts. Then I beg you, Muslim world, unify for peace. Do not mislead. Do not let materialism dazzle you. Do not let revenge take through. Do not let destruction invade you. Let peace flood you. Let love conquer you. Let your soul arise. Let's give back Islam to our children. Then I beg you, Muslim world, unify for love. Let us open our hearts. Let us open our arms. Let us open our mind to each of the messages transmitted by the sacred books which are within Islam. This unity is the gift we will be proud to offer to our children as a legacy for a peaceful and virtuous world. My beloved brothers and sisters, we are the light of Islam. Let us join together in the same quest, enriching each other with our multiple cultures, so we are no longer incomplete. With love and respect. Thank you.
Thanks. It was beautiful. You could feel it, really could feel it from your heart. And being a council member, that's where we know our power is from speaking from our heart, where our soul is expressed. The next thing to be presented, is Lisa available? She was going to bring on video.
I am.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Sandy. Yes, the Earth Council has would like to offer this audio for the people to understand, because what we are doing here is we are creating our voice of peace. And so the Earth Council, we stand for the souls of all the 6 continents, humans and other. And we hold them close and we speak as one voice for the planet. But part of our job is also to show all of those who wish for peace how they can help achieve it. So we recognize the Creator within all of you, and we wish for you to recognize it in yourself as well. And so this is how we will become the change we want to see in the world. So to this end, we wish to share a recording that we have made, and we hope that this will inspire you to understand that you are the Creator and you can create this peace with us. So if Rick could please play the audio. Thank you.
Okay.
We were sitting together the other night, the Earth Council members, and we were chatting privately about everything that has been happening around us in the world, especially in the region. And as Earth Council or as Universal Council, how could we really be influencing the situation that has been happening in a right way? How we have the pure intention of peace. Yes, we want to reestablish or help this reestablishment of the global peace. But how are we going to do that? So we were talking about this idea to explore the possibilities of I as an individual, as a part of this team, as a person who is not a political person, who is not a military person, who is not a wealth person. How can I create these positive changes? How can I become somebody influential in achieving good things for all the mankinds, including myself, including my loved one, including my family, including my beloved country, including my countrymen, and so on and so forth, because we all repeat this. After all, we all brothers and sisters living in one single home. So during our talk and visualizations, we achieved something that we realized that it's good to share it with all our brothers and sisters who could join us online, and later on with the new people who could come and join us, so that collectively we create a larger voice. We can affect things in a better way. We went back to the teaching by our master, Professor Keshe. It's not difficult to understand that we can really do this if we just go back to the teachings as he's been generously giving it to us in the past few years. Who am I as a single human? Now we know about the souls. Now we know more and more about the souls. We know the power of the soul. We understand the concept of creation now. We understand energy better than ever before. We now know how energy actually creates matter or turns into matter. Not only we know this, we also are learning how to influence it and exactly get what we intend to get. This is a major achievement, and the way that we are being taught to use GANs to resolve a cancer issue in the body of the human, we could extend this knowledge. We realized that we could extend this knowledge and use it to resolve the cancer of the humanity. If we go back into ourselves, if we can get connected to our own soul, if we could start within, I start in myself. If I tap into my knowledge and abilities, if I connect to my own essence, then my soul, which is, of course, a field of energy and stronger than anything I can imagine in my physicality, it becomes, and it is to me, it becomes obvious to me that this is a part of the creation. This is a part of the creator. I'm a part of everything. Like you, like every one of you, every single one of you. If I'm a part of everything, so I understand now what this holographic nature of creation means. Every epsilon of this magnificent creation has the information of everything that ever been used in it or existed in it. So as an epsilon or as a pixel or as a dot in this huge and unlimited amount of knowledge, I carry the knowledge within me. It's all about I trusting myself so that I allow this knowledge to evolve in me. So we realize that if we could go deep inside ourselves, if we could connect to our own selves, and as opposed to anything else, we start elevating our own soul. We start reconnecting ourselves to the flow of life. This magnificent stream of life which passes through me, it could enhance the quality of my field. And because I'm a part of everything, you are a part of me, then I can enhance other fields around me based on the message or the situation or the condition that this field of mine is creating now. If we become united with each other, this is called the collective consciousness. Our sound becomes stronger than ever before. It grows exponentially. 1 + 1 + 1 is not 3 anymore. It could be hundreds. So if a certain number of the people come together and they become united from their hearts, if they feel the connection to their own souls, if they start with elevating with their individual souls and connect them together, the energy, the information that is created is going to be massive and strong enough to affect everything else in the world. Don't forget, we've been selected for certain qualities that have already existed in us, even though we were not aware of them. The ones who picked us to represent the responsibilities that has been given to us, they saw that in us. It's time for us to see that in ourselves too. So I choose to trust these abilities in me. I think and I believe that this self-trust is the first key to open the door to me. I trust my abilities from now on. I choose to open my soul. I choose to get connected to myself from within to elevate my own souls with the purpose of creation of peace and love. Now, when we talk about love, we talk about consciousness. We talk about light. We talk about the creator. Because everything in the universe is created based on consciousness. There is a stream of love in everything. So if I tap into that love of consciousness of creation, this opening up in me is faster than ever before now, because I'm now flowing with the stream of life. I talk about love. And this time, unlike many other times, I don't want to direct that love to my own self. I gave an example to my colleagues the other day in the Universal Council chat. I said, if I say I love fish, it's not really I love fish. I love myself because I know that that fish, if it's a part of me, it will serve me. This time, differently, I want to become a magnetical force. I want to project that love out of my heart based on the flow of the universal consciousness, based on the flow of creation. And when I tap into my own soul to elevate my own soul first and before anything, then I have something to express. Then I have people, friends, colleagues, open-minded and open-hearted people like every one of you, who is ready consciously to give. So we get connected to each other. When I say I am you. In quantum science, every single point could exist in different places at different time at the same time. So if that is true, if I am I, then I am you at the same time, and you are me. So actually there is no I, and there is no you. It's just one single unified field. We felt this the other night, and we practiced it 2 times, and every one of us felt incredibly wonderful. So I humbly ask all of you guys, brothers and sisters, who have participated in this magnificent time in our history, with the conscious awareness being put in us, with the responsibilities being given to us out of generosity and grace. We put our hands together, we open our hearts, we try, not to try, without any effort, we just wish and want to elevate our own souls, to raise our own consciousness first, and then we connect to each other. When I am you and you are me, who are we in total? We are the totality. We are everything that there is. If I, as a pixel in this universe, as a holographic pixel, carry the whole information of the creation in me, then I am powerful, and I choose to trust this power in me today. And I want to trust this power in me today. And with open heart, I want to transfer or to transmit that flow of life, flow of love, flow of consciousness, flow of light through me as a unified totality with all of you and every other soul who wishes to join at any time in past or future, to aim and direct to all those disconnected souls of bunch of leaders who are holding on to power, and the police and the military, the ones who are creating massive wealth for themselves and hurting every human and hurting all the nature and everything that comes with it. And I want to aim at their disconnection part. I want to enlighten them. When I say I'm talking on behalf of all of other souls who are joining me at this moment now, to project this magnificent light of love through all those black points or disconnected souls of those human-looking entities, whatever they are. I'm not going to go and fight with them. I don't want to pick another fight. I'm tired of war. I've seen it. I've seen people burning inside out, innocent people, because of chemical weapons, because of other vicious weapons used. I've seen children who've lost their parents when they needed them the most. It's too hurting. I don't want to practice that. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to experience that anymore. So I want instead to project that beautiful light of love, of consciousness, through the stream of the creation, to the stream of the creator itself, which is a combination of all of us together, to point at the soul of those people who are supposed to be the leaders supporting the people, but instead they are serving their own greed by collecting wealth, by taking away opportunities from other people, by creating the wars, to wish for their soul to be reconnected again. So when the light starts to flow within them, hopefully their eyes will be open and they can see the truth, this time from within, this time with any cover, this time the bare truth about themselves, about what they are doing and what they could expect if they don't change. I wish, and my intention is behind this wish, including the intention of every other soul who has joined me at this moment right now, in the future or the past or the present time, regardless, to bless those disconnected souls to be elevated again, to be reconnected again, to come back to the flow of a stream of life and love into a better future, with the wish for a better future for every human to come along, so that they can share the wealth, they can share the knowledge, we can create a better future for our next generations to come. It's all been given to us through these few years of magnificent teaching. It's all been given to us. We have the resources, we have the knowledge, we understand now better than ever before. It's it's you, my friend. It's a combination of us together. It's our heart. When it projects love unconditionally outward, not this time inward, it's not about any one of us anymore. It's all about our collection as humanity, to raise our souls, to raise our vibration, so that we can ultimately raise the other vibrations who've been stuck somehow in the material world, who've lost their hope and their security and safety, and now they're trying to fulfill it with more and more money to come. If they think like that, it doesn't matter where this money comes from. It doesn't matter if this money is a result of sales of weapons, wars, drugs, human trafficking, hurting, stealing, lying. All matters to them is the money. Now we want to enlighten them to know that they don't need that money. They can let it go. They are safe. They will be secure. They will have a better future. All they need to do is to allow this reconnection happen. And with our intention for this peace, the intention for the beautiful things to come, which will serve every humanity in future, we have a chance to elevate their souls. Let's put our hands together right now and make this wish happen. And let's believe it in our heart that the moment that we are connected, this wish is already happened. I see it. And I know that we have already influenced everything that has happened around us. It could have been much worse. So far, things are under control, and this is our impact. It's time now to trust our power, to know that we can do it, to know that we have done it. Let's open our hearts. Imagine we all are standing our hands together. We feel each other constantly, including our beloved Mother Earth, and wish for the best to come. Wish for all the darknesses to be removed as soon as light has touched them. Let's project unlimited amount of pleasant light of creation and love, with the intention of removing any dark point that have ever existed in the soul of any man who have been hurting the others intentionally. Let's pray for that, and let's believe that it's already happened. Remember, I am you. It wasn't my voice. I didn't create it. It's just streaming through me. You are me. We are each other. There is no separation. It's just one heart. It's just one creation. That is the true meaning. And I trust myself now, with all the power has been given to me ever, that I can do this. We can do this. We've done it already. The more self-trust happens, the better result, the faster result will be achieved. It's very clear for me to see the future now. I'm not afraid. I'm not after collecting things anymore. I'm ready to learn. I'm evolving. And that is the meaning of I being here. And I am proud of myself for reaching this point, to see the truth in me, to see the connection in me, to see the power in me. And I choose to use this power wisely in only one purpose, and that is to serve others, and that is to become unified with others. And I know that you felt the same, and I am proud of all of you. Anybody who's listened to this, be proud of yourself. We are making a difference, an everlasting difference in our future. We change the future. We change the past. We are changing everything in the most beautiful way. only unconditional love outward, with the wish that no darkness will stay in any human soul, with the wish that this enlightenment will help us to move into the next step of our evolution, with the wish that every one of you will see each other one day very soon with our other brothers and sisters out there to share the knowledge and enjoy what we have achieved. God bless our master, Professor Keshe. We're always proud of you. I am from the bottom of my heart with what you shared with the humanity. We wish for your protection and your safetyness. And the ones who love you, all are protected. Thank you for giving this knowledge to us. Thank you for helping us to explore the truth in us. And it's important for us to bring in more and more people so that they can start feeling what we are feeling now. It's for them. It's for every one of us. It's time to really elevate the soul, and this is what we are doing, and we are more than powerful than what we have ever thought in doing so. It's all about how much I trust myself. Today, I want you guys to trust this power in your heart as much as you can. There is nothing to hold you back. God bless you all.
Lisa, is there anything else you would like to say from the Earth Council?
Not at this time, Sandy. I think it's the court team turn to say what they would like to say.
Okay. Rick, would the last part of the document,
I have that up now and I can read that.
that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay. This is the statement from the KF core team. The main work of the members of the Keshe Foundation core team is to give unconditionally from the soul to those who need and as much as needed. At this time, the core team gives from the soul to the souls of all Muslims in the world. We especially give to those souls who are suffering and to those who cause such suffering. We wish to elevate souls and to enlighten. We give from our unlimited essence and surround with unconditional love. The goal is peace. There will be peace. Keshe Foundation core team. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
I'm sorry, I just realized that didn't come through on the live stream. I didn't have the speaker on that. I'm not sure what to do. Maybe I should reread it for
Okay.
live stream benefit. Sorry about that, but let's run it through again.
Sure.
This is the statement from the KF core team. The main work of the members of the Keshe Foundation core team is to give unconditionally from the soul to those who need and as much as needed. At this time, the core team gives from the soul to the souls of all Muslims in the world. We especially give to those souls who are suffering and to those who cause such suffering. We wish to elevate souls and to enlighten. We give from our unlimited essence and surround with unconditional love. The goal is peace, and there will be peace. Keshe Foundation core team. Okay, I think we got it that time.
Are there any core members, Earth Council members or Universal Council members that would like to speak on behalf of the letter of peace to the Muslim world? even though I'm going to start to speak, that doesn't mean you can't interrupt me if you want to say something. I just want to say that this is an ongoing process. What you heard today was basically the first real go at it. And we have plans to continue working on them and more documents regarding the blueprint, such as Mr. Keshe has described and Parvis described also, and also working on letters to other religions or groups that need to feel that and have the knowledge that we are praying for them, that we are giving from our souls to them, so that they can know that we're supporting them. So with that, I would like to say this presentation of the Letter for Peace for the Muslim world from the collaborative work of the core team, Universal Council and Earth Council of the Keshe Foundation. Currently, this is what we have to show. Thanks so much. Is there anything else you would like for me to describe, Mr. Keshe?
Not really. This is your job. As I said before, as I'm handing over different part of the Keshe Foundation work to different management team, this is the part which I used to do, and now it's become the responsibility of the structure which is set up. As I said, I was talking to Ahmed, I'm retiring in every essence, because we have taught enough to mature the soul of the man. And it's for the man to choose the path. In time, our work will show is what I call the change in the path. And our work will show how we have changed the humanity through our own work. As now that we have matured in understanding more about our own soul, we find out that it's very easy to reach other souls. As many of you know, we have a motion team here which we are trying to enlighten to be able to understand the work of their own entity. And in so many ways I explain to them on frequent basis that from the time of beginning, man always thought his real existence, it was somewhere out there. In maturity of understanding more, he called it the soul. And then in understanding the soul, he could not see within himself that is himself. As the man has matured in understanding more of the science of the physicality, it's the time and job of messengers like us to explain to the rest of humanity that the soul of the man is within the man, not just somewhere out there. As I said before, when the first man said the earth is round, we know all what they did to him. Now, the message is simple. The soul of the man is within the man, and it's so powerful that it can expand the universe. And from this we learn one thing. If, as one soul, we can reach the whole dimensions of the physical entity, so the soul of the man is extremely powerful to be able to do others, to be able to change others, to be able to give, that by giving to bring balance, it brings balance to himself and to the others. It has been very hard for many of us to accept that our soul is within our structure. By being out, we could be able to, in so many ways, blame it, use it, abuse it, and the rest. But now with the new teaching, we understand our soul is within the center of our brain. We can locate it, we can place it the same as we can do with our nose, with our toes. One of the biggest problems for man will be, how can I get in touch with it when it's already in touch with me? It's the creator of me. How can I get in touch with my creator, which is me? This will become very harsh for a lot of people. The only thing you should understand is me, who, because of me, the soul exists within me. And I exist within the operation of my soul. As one of the students said, let's turn our eyes inwards and look into our soul. We shall see nothing, as it has no dimension. It has no physicality, and its existence confirms our existence. We exist because of it, and we are created out of it. In the teachings, we follow one thing very easily, and we understand easily. In so many ways, when an egg and a sperm come together, each one carry their own soul. On mixing, on accepting each other's balanced fields, but slightly of the different strength, this leads to the rotation, dynamism of the soul. And in that direction, as the two souls of the sperm and egg, in trying to catch up with each other, create emotion within the womb of the mother, they absorb more and more energy from the environment of the liquid, the ocean of life of the mother. And as they absorb more and more energy, due to the parameters exist within the structure of the universe, they can hold on to certain amount, and then they divide. They have to divide to be able to hold on to what they're absorbing. And in that process, as they absorb, predestined amount of what they can absorb has come in from the egg and the sperm. This structure of the rotation of fields between the soul of the egg and the soul of the sperm, in dynamism and absorbing more and more energy from the liquid of the life, which is the mother's life, it leads to division of more, because each sac can hold, let's say, to 1 kilowatt of energy. Now they absorb 3, so it has to divide into 3, and so is the division of life and the beginning of the life. Then it comes to the point where these masses, each one carrying their own fields, in the strength of the dynamism, they become like a gel, but all working, all dynamically field changing. And then in that point, all of them in one point release all their fields of the certain strength, which is the common denominator of it all, into the center of the whole structure. And that is the point when the soul of the man is created and the entity becomes one. It is at that point where, with the knowledge and the information which has come from within the sperm and egg, from the historical background of the two, then the bones, the heart, and everything else starts. So the soul of the man has come from the entity of physicality, where itself came from the fields of the universe itself. The physical life of the man is an incubator of another dimension in a specific strength. Our body is a filter for a specific strength, collection of fields, which we call the soul of the man. We absorb energy through it, and because of it, in what gives out, we obtain and attain our physicality. If we go to the next step of understanding, that in the reduction in the strength from the essence of its creation, which is the soul of the man, the brain of the man, in filtering, decides the shape and size, the emotion of the physicality of the man. If man matures to understand to the next step of the creation, that is, When we leave this planet, amino acid is the condition of this planet. The amino acid of life on this planet is the CHON. When you go into the expanse of the universe with a higher or lower strength field, this becomes unattainable. Many of you, I teach, as I teach to motions, is that we speak about detachment. What is detachment? We call it, because we are materialistic, I get rid of the metals, I get rid of the gold, the house, the God knows what, and I'm detached. But the true detachment comes when the man goes into space and he finds out even his brain, which is made of the amino acid, becomes a part of the universal field and does not exist. And the only thing of the man is left is the soul of the man. In so many ways, I was explaining the teachings, it's like when you sugarcoat a pearl. What happens when you sugarcoat the pearl and then you put it in hot water? The sugar goes, the pearl stays behind. The sugar coating is the physicality and the brain of the man which initially created the pearl itself. And now man has to understand, in the opening of the space, in the deeper space, when we come across stronger fields, which the amino acid body of the man is nothing in it, it's just a solution in the illusion of existence, then we understand what even we were happy to escape into, that we can get rid of our arms and legs. We find out the structure of the brain cannot exist because the mixture of the strength is much higher. But the soul of the man exists and shall survive. That is why man has to understand, if you can extend the life beyond the physicality of the existence, what we call the total detachment from the physical structure, then man comes to understand the soul has a lot of power. Now it can expand the whole universe. As the structure of the brain, the filtering does not exist, the existence of it is dictated by the restriction and the field forces which surround it. So the soul of the man can expand the universe. It's for us to be educated, and if we understand this, as has been part of the whole work of this morning, is that every soul, in allowing not for the brain of the man to be the cage of its existence, can reach every other man's souls, and in totality reach the humanity. And if one understands this, one can reach every man on this planet. Is the restriction and prejudice of ourselves in our ability which restricts us from being able to reach the others, and not the reality of the existence. It is important for us to understand physical life is nothing but mirage. Mirage of the imagination of the soul, which would like to manifest itself in the dimension of physicality of the environment we call the earth. If you understand and comprehend this, we understand detachment is from the physicality of the existence, but understanding the totality of the existence, which is the soul of the man. Past 10 minutes teaching has taken man millions of years to comprehend. And now that the man has matured, many can understand the simple word. The work of the religion has been to hide the existence of the soul of the man from the vision of the man, and so they have abused it. The point comes, do we need the religion? Or thus the religion, which is unity of mankind and the universal community, becomes the religion of the man. We have to understand the essence of the creation of the soul. And in past few minutes, I have explained the mystery of existence on this planet. Now is for a maturity of understanding to understand. And where you stop is that's your limit. We can go into elaborating how the fields come and what it is, but in essence, in what has been said, explains what every simple man can understand. That no one can abuse him for lack of not knowing what the soul is, where its position is, and how it come to exist. We have explained the manual of the creation of the soul of the man. The blueprint of creation on this planet and the rest of the universe. Will come the time that many people will question their own existence. But there'll come the time when, understanding the position and the strength of our soul, we do not need to go through the delivery of the child through the physicality, but it's much easier through the soul of the partition. What it means, I put part of my soul in, and you put part of yours, and if they agree to share, to combine, they create a new soul that becomes the child of the soul. This child of the two souls will have, and he will decide in the future in how to manifest itself at the point of the physical manifestation as he likes or she likes. And this has been one of the biggest mysteries of the man. How do we come to have blue eyes, black hair, brown skin, and the rest? We always blamed it on the genes and DNA. We never understood it's our soul that would like to manifest itself in the feature that he likes, as he sees itself for the energy it needs. Now you understand what it means. I made man in the image of myself. The face of the man is the image of the soul of the man. Maybe one understands more about the true creation. Then one should be able to get in touch with his soul and through it to give and take accordingly. Not to steal, but to be able to be there to give enough that it confirms his generosity of existence, but to be prudent enough not to take more than what it needs. Many years, many philosophers, many prophets have tried to explain this simple path of existence, and now with the stroke of a pen from messages of universe we reveal. It's for the man to mature. It's for the man to understand how he has come to exist. And the life is nothing but the process of accumulation of the given strength that leads to confirmation of existence in a dimension. Blessed are those souls who have understood. There is no difference in the structure of the life of a man, an atom, solar system, a galaxy, or the universe. It's just the strength and the amount of the content, which has given it different dimensions, shapes, and colors. in so many ways. Once we know this and we are aware of this knowledge, does the physical life need to exist the way it is? Or do we need to pack the tents and move in a new dimension and place? Physicality at this level brings many pleasure, but has caused many harms and damages and suffering. And this is the time to stop. When I said to you a few weeks ago, we have ended up with the religions, now you understand why. Because when the man comes to understand his position of his soul, the strength of his soul, he believes in the religion of the universe, which is the creation of the unity of the life. It does not matter in what dimension and in what position in the universe. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, and I'll remind the attendees in the Zoom meeting here that they can put their hand up to ask a question, and I can make you into a panelist.
Good morning, Mr.
Okay.
Keshe.
Good morning, Azhar.
How are you?
Still alive?
That's good, Mr. Keshe. I'm very grateful that you're here. I have a question. When you talk about being born in a different religion, and you said something about people that are born in if they're born in Islam or Judaism or Christianity, so they have a different strength?
It's a different commitment of the soul to the path of work of the soul. When we accept a religion, we accept certain path. It's very much when you're a doctor, you follow the path of medicine. When you're an engineer, you follow the path of it. When we commit our souls to a given soul, it means that soul is responsible for us. These are the captains of the ship. These are the captains of the spaceship, and it's their responsibility to make sure that those who have committed themselves to them stay safe. And unfortunately, one thing never understood. Many prophets of the past, they abandoned ship when the time was too good for them in the physical life.
Because when I was 7 years old, my grandmother wanted me to pray, get up in the morning, 5 in the morning and pray, and I refused to do that. And then she used to say, you need to pray because God created you. And I said, I never asked God to create me, so they can take me back. So now I understand. So my soul, when I decided to come, I decided to appear in the religion that I am. So that's the kind of, can I call it obligation?
Can I ask you a question, Azhar?
No.
You're Muslim. Or you brought up in the world of Islamic, what do you call it, ethos?
Yeah.
What is your understanding of the present situation? Which is religion used, the same religion, to create conflict for the others to benefit by it?
You see, like even before I know you or anybody else, the way I felt about religion, I came here in to United States in 1984, but and then when I came here, it was clear to me more than ever that really all these are man-made. I mean, in terms of being Muslim, it's just it was a messenger of God. Muhammad Prophet Muhammad came in to give us the way of life, but it doesn't mean a way of life is different from somebody who's Jewish or somebody who's from Christian. Is a way, for example, in a family, you have 5 kids. One of them become a doctor, another one become a butcher, another one become a mechanic. But at the end of the day, they come and they gather together and they sit and they have a meal. It's the same way I look at it. And to me, the conflict is made by people who like to control. And then to me also the government is a representative of one group of people who have the wealth and they want to control the others, and they use the religion to control the mass of people, and there's nothing else. And that's my view.
What is interesting, very interesting, is that what do we call religion? What is religion? Why have we chosen the word? Rightly to deprive ourselves of collective love? Or is it rightly for us to give to rob from ourselves? It's in the writings of all the holy books, thou shalt not steal. And those who claim to be more religious, they steal more from themselves and the others. I was explaining this past few days. You work day and night, you work 2 shifts, and at the end of the day, then you go on Sunday to the church, on Friday to the mosque, on Saturday to the synagogue, and you put part of that money into the pocket, into the basket, into the box of any of these path of belief. That I give, that I receive more. But if you look at it in reality, you have children, you have wife, you have obligation, and the money you put in the pocket of giving to somebody to spend it for something else, you have stolen from the bread, from the clothing, from everything else. Because in the society, when you use the money to buy, you support other lives. When you put money in these structures, which are what I call tax-free agencies, called religion nowadays, if you want to have the most profitable business without paying taxes, call yourself a church, a mosque, or whatever. Nobody looks into your books. And as we always say, we haven't seen the bank of God where he deposits it. The only way it gets deposited is in the pocket of the priest, the imams and everything else, and in some building to become bigger to take more. So in so many ways, if man understands, I'm stealing from my own family. Food from the table of me, food from the table of the others, that this money can be spent on, that it creates jobs. It creates comfort for the others. So they have made us thief by nature from ourselves and be feeling guilty that we've stolen from ourselves. There is a big question mark at the moment in the Catholic, in Vatican organization. As you know, we are close to the Vatican organization operation and Monsignors and the others, as you've seen them in some of our presentation. And the conflict is that how come the families of the priests are becoming rich? The friends and the girlfriends of the priests are becoming rich. Because nobody counts what goes through the purse. And now they are trying to control what comes in, that who's stealing from what. In a way, they steal from us in the name of God, and then they steal from God in the name of themselves. There is a huge question now about the operation of religion organizations. And the question comes through the soul of the man. Thou shalt not steal. I steal and I give from what I've done, that I hope I'll be given something. If you have created job by the money you put in the purse of the church, the mosque, or whatever, you would have created a market condition that it creates wealth for a nation. This is a stagnated wealth, a stolen wealth from the nation, when you create these religious corners. This is what we see in the Industrial Revolution, in the Industrial Economical Revolution. Governments do all sorts of tax fiddles to create 1 or 2% tax reduction that you have in your pocket, that you can spend, that it revives the economy. What I would like to ask, how much the building of these churches, with the money which goes in it every week, every day, which becomes gold in the reserves of different names and religions, comes back to revive and create economy. Comes back to create life. None of it, zero. So we as people have created the point of punishment for ourselves, and with it we get punished. If the government puts 80% taxes on all the collections in the church, in the mosque, in the synagogue, because they have nothing else to do, they are there for man to elevate his soul, not the pocket, then you will see the economy will move by 2, 3, 4, 5%, because it's a saving bank for the nation. Because then the condition evolves. And then we say we don't believe in the politicians because they steal more. They all are at it because we have given them the chance to do so. So when you put next time to go to the church, to the synagogue, to the temple, and you put something inside the box, before your hand goes in, think, this is the clothing, this is the food from back of my son, table of my daughter, and the next step with it, when I give them the food, the money goes to another baker, another shoemaker, that it feeds his children, and then they feed with that money another industry and the rest of it. The biggest crime of humanity is the establishment of the religions to find a pocket for the man physically to steal from himself and the mouth of his own, to give, and then he receives the punishment and he waits for it. I gave to the church, one day when I needed it, come back. Your marked thief is already gone. You have already taken the pleasure of the shoes which the child doesn't have, and you have to pay for it. If the society starts looking at the reality of how it says thou shalt not steal, but we steal ourselves to give to where the place of thou shalt not steal be, the punishment of the priest should be much higher than the thieves. This is one of the reasons I say there shall be no religion called and no prophets to come. Because the maturity of man comes, if I want to give, I give myself to the man who needs it. This is how it should be. Next time you donate to organization, you decide who receives it. Donate is not to give. You give money to somebody to educate them, whatever. That money goes to your school, to university, gets used for the teachers. Teachers do the shopping and the children and the guy who had the shop and the rest of it. This is the correct way. I don't believe, and I've never been a believer in the structure of it, and this was one of my biggest problems with the Baha'i faith. Another pocket for stealing from the soul of the man, but well organized, like Christianity, like Judaism and the rest. It's not that I don't believe in the existence of my soul to be correct, it's I could not stand the abuse of it in the name of what doesn't exist. The more we get down the line, the more professional the stealing is become under different names. Priests, mullahs, imams, rabbis, and the rest have understood this and understood how weak the man is in the dimension of physicality that he can give. It's the job of the Keshe Foundation supporters and those who we enlighten and thereon is to raise the soul of the guy who needs to give, that he understands more that the giver is him. It's him who has to change. When you go to a small village in Italy by the sea, very small village, you see many churches. Many churches. And this is a dilemma for me, and it's been, and I explained it many times. The fisherman, before he goes to fish, he gives part of his income that he comes back alive and safe. When he comes back, he gives a little bit more that he came back safe. As has been the tradition, when you give, God saves you and protects you on the sea. And they say the fishermen are poor. The fishermen are poor because there's superstition in the fake structure of the faith, which does not exist, in the form that it was set to strengthen the soul of the man by the prophet, has taken, stolen from himself. So now a fisherman is poor because, yes, he's put himself into that point of giving to be stolen from. When you do a crime, you pay for the punishment. When I walk the shores of Ghana with the fishermen, they're not poor. They have enough to live. None of them die, but collectively they support and they fish. What happens after that port, which makes the fishermen poor? This is the problem. This is where, as humanity, we need to raise the soul of totality, that no one falls in the traps of, in reality, of church, mosque, temples in any shape or form you like. We have to raise the soul of the man by giving, that it becomes part of it, that it doesn't get abused. When you see a child getting beaten, you go and take the mother or the child away from it. Why don't we do that with the rest of humanity through our soul? We are responsible now that we know. Up to now we didn't know. Now we know we are responsible. The interesting point for most of us will be how much we decide to give from our soul. And when we have decided how much we want to give from soul is the point that we have failed, because we have put the limitation. As the soul of the man has no limit. The more you give, the more you receive, and with it, the more is there to give, that it gives you the pleasure that I exist. The existence of the man should come from giving and not taking. And at the moment, it's in reverse, taking and holding. And that's why the humanity is down the chute. We have to follow the path of the book, which brings all the man together to one. Not the path of the thieves, of the words of the books, which makes you the priest and the rest. The sooner the man matures to understand that his soul is within him, and it's him through his souls that it decides what to give, then man reaches the point of maturity very fast. Let me explain to you how it works for those of you who don't understand. As you become a giver, the umbrella of your soul passes the dimensions of your physicality, of your brain and the body. In a sense, you become in touch with other souls, and then you see that soul is in need of what. And you become good at it, that you know by physicality supporting it in one way or another, you elevate the soul to be at peace, that the peace of that soul becomes peace of your soul. This is how it's going to work. Not by putting it in the bank and what I call the Church of God, which does not exist. We are looking for the bank called the Bank of God. And we want to see which priest after every service goes on banking there. As I said many times, it should be 100% taxes on religious organizations, because they're just a collecting point and all of it has to be sent and spent on the society. This is how shall be with the Keshe Foundation work. Whatever comes from the effort of the man's soul, which is the benefit of the foundation, goes back to the society. This is how it should be. This is how it should have been set out from the beginning. As I said to you, we are in the month of Ramadan. And I was in Iran during the month of Ramadan after 33 years when I was there some 9 years ago. Went home, the last day of the fasting, the next day was the celebration. When I came out of the house to go to one of my relations, I saw the whole city was tables on the street. Every corner was a table and they were collecting money. I said, excuse me, to the driver, and there were a couple of other people. I said, what's going on here? What are these tables? Oh, he said, they're collecting money. I said, what for? He said, for those who miss their fasting or something happened in their fasting, they fast half a day, they pay penalty for it. I said, so where does the money go? He says, nobody knows. It goes in the church in the name of the Bank of the God, which nobody knows. Now you can see how they have fooled the soul of the man. You put your body in the suffering of understanding what it means not to have from morning to night. And if one day you did not do the suffering, you pay for it to who? To the Bank of God. But that God doesn't exist. It becomes cars, vehicles, food and parties and night clubbing for those who receive it. Because there is no accounting. I would like to see the bookkeeper of the God. Then we see how much man has saved in past thousands of years in his name. I promise you one figure you will find out is 0. So it's us who has to understand that we steal, and with it in stealing, we get stolen for punishment of what we have stolen. Many Jews know what they do and how they do it. Many Christians know, many Buddhists know. But us, because of our weakness, have closed our eyes to it. I was in a meeting, a guy came in and he said, I've come to ask for help. I have supported the path for a long time. And now I have fallen on a hard time. Can I have some help? The head of the meeting said, excuse me, sir, we are a religious organization. We are here to take, not to give. I asked a question. I said, how come when he was a good giving, there was no question? Now that he's banked with you, he wants it back. There is a question. He said, Mr. Keshe, you don't understand, you're too young. I said, yes, I've been too fooled not to see the reality. I walked out and never turned myself back in, because I found out the temple of God in the name of different organization is a temple of stealing from the soul of the man. I was in Vatican years ago with Caroline, and I walked in one of the confession boxes, and the priest ran. No, you cannot go in there. I thought, what? This is the only place you can steal and nobody else can. I have prayed in every temple of life, be it Judaism, Christianity, Muslim, Hinduism, Zoroastrians, and I found one thing: they all speak about God, and none of them know what God is, that is inside them and within them. We have finished with the teaching of the cores and ganses, because now we understood all that teaching was to show you the existence and creation of the soul. Now we start understanding what the purpose has been. Now we start building these reactors to fly. You understand that the reactors of flight is within the soul of the man itself. But we had to go through the path to separate and end the dimension of physicality to the dimension of the, what I call in-dimensional, which has no dimension. It's the soul of the man which decides what to be, where to be. As I said to the students, you are all happy that you can retract your body, physicality, and go inside, and then when you arrive, manifest yourself in the condition of environment. But one thing you never understood was that if you can retract your body because of the physicality of the condition, your brain is made of amino acid which connects you to the earth, so that will not be there too. And that was a shock. But the soul created has no dimension of physicality, so exists. That's why the man will travel the universe, the spans of the universe, through his soul and not through his physicality, for those who mature. If you want to go from A to B with a donkey, you're quite welcome. We provide you the donkey. If you have matured that you can ride the bike, we give you a bike. If you want to go in the car, the knowledge of the car is there. If you like to go with a jumbo jet instead of waiting and running for years, you're quite welcome too. But if you matured now to understand the position and the structure of the soul of the man, you're given the vehicle for the travel in the spans of the universe. I remember I was a young boy, and I heard and I watched and I anxiously followed the first landing of the man on the moon. My father had a very old aunt. She used to come and visit us regularly. I still remember today as clear as the day I saw her walking through the garden door. In Iran, we always in the north house, we enter the garden, what's called in the English word paradise, because it's green, trees, and we welcome you through the heaven into our house. I remember her walking, and she was cursing and making a special feature, biting the muscle tissue between the index finger and the thumb, back and forth, upside down, says, this is a curse that are trying to demean Islam, that the man has gone to the moon. I said to her, what are you talking about? She says, you know, these Americans, they say they landed on the moon because the moon is holy to us, they want to demean us. I said to my father, this woman has no knowledge of the science of man, does she? Because the mullah said in the mosque, and she just repeats what she's heard. As he could not understand the elevation of the soul of the knowledge of the man, he had to demean the knowledge of the man, that the man could advance enough that he could go beyond the spaces of this planet. Religion has been used in different ways by different religious leaders to benefit their pockets of their organization. It is the man who has to understand now, he is the captain of the ship. He is the captain of the ship of his own soul and his own destiny. Next time when you go to a religious house and you put your money, your hand out to put it in the basket, Tell yourself one thing: I'm stealing, I'm not giving. I'm stealing from the money which belongs to my children, to the shoe I need and the rest. And if I am to give, I'll reach the soul of the one which needs, and I'll be there. Those of you who listened, I explained this very recently to some people. When you are there to give, when you are there to serve, you'll come to do it. Many people came to us, they don't have money for the systems which I was making, and I made it for them freely. And they became and recovered from. And strange enough is, in the court of Cortex, they say he's scamming to take money. If I don't give my knowledge freely, my technology freely to humanity. And this is a dilemma at the moment in the court. And the policeman cannot say anything. And Mr. Lorenz has shut up with it. He's stealing, but he's given his knowledge freely. It doesn't fit, does it? Because I gave to the soul of the man to elevate. These peasants of thieves will stay in their dimension of physicality. We cannot be touched unless we feel it. We understand it. And we can do something about it. It's our responsibility to understand the operation of our soul. And then to understand without others we don't exist. The confirmation of the existence of the earth is the interaction of its fields with the sun. Otherwise the rays of the sun will pass through as they do with the rest of the solar system. When you feel the need of a person, you shall give, because you understand the correct need. And you'll be taken to be there because your soul is aware of it, your physicality is just a tool. Some time ago, I arrived in a new city. I didn't know anything. And as you know, I'm Iranian through the blood, and I'm a lover of Iranian food. Even when I was in Iran, the Iranian government got fed up of me, how much I'm attached to this structure of the food. And when it was Ramadan, for 30 days they made me the same food because he loves this, he enjoys it. I like minced meat, but what they call kebab with the rice. And wherever I go, I ask the first thing, go on the internet if there is one. Those who've been to the conferences with us in Rome or whatever, they all know the last night we always end up in the Iranian restaurant because it's the love I have, I share. I walked into this new city and by accident I heard a Farsi spoken. The first thing I asked, is there a cello kebabi here where they sell cello is rice and kebab is meat? He said, yes, there is something there. He gave me this. I said, just write it for me because I don't know. I went for a long walk looking at the city. I came to this restaurant. There was nobody else except me and 4 people sitting on the other side. It came to understanding, as I could not stop hearing because the conversation was very well spoken out, that there were 2 of those were a boy and a girl trying to get married and they didn't have the money, but they wanted to get married to confirm their love. One was the restaurant owner and one was the mediator for the marriage, what we call somebody in new world trying to get them something. It became listening obvious that the guy had no job, but the love of the girl was so much that I heard he said, you know something? You and I don't need to pay for the food. We can sit there because we say hello, whatever, at least it'll be cheaper. And the girl said, but we have at least to eat something. He said, the others will give it to us, so we get the bill down by so much. And then there was a discussion that if you put it in the middle of the week, it'll be so much cheaper because I'm busy in the weekends. They said, no, 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 we can't do it. And the discussion was going for more or less €1, €2 per person. The restaurant owner walked away and he came back and they came to a conclusion. Can we have this and this and this, but this is all we can, and the girl was supposed to work overtime or whatever to pay for this marriage. I said, excuse me, I don't know why I've been brought here, but I heard the love and I heard the suffering. I pay for the wedding. The couple said it's impossible. We cannot do, and the restaurant owner says, the gentleman is offering you what you could not do. He's come here, he's an angel for you. I paid for the wedding and I walked out and I've never been back in the restaurant. This is how your soul takes you where it should be. Not in the mosque, not in the council of the Baha'i faith that they take from you and they never give, not in the church. Your soul will bring you to the point where you have to give. If you believe in it, you live by it. This has happened to me and Caroline many times. I'm sure it's happened to a lot of you. The closer you come to serve, your body takes you to the place your physicality just walks into. And if you understand this, then you understand the temple, the church, the mosque, the synagogue is within you, within the church of your body, within the structure of your soul. This is what the man has to understand. If you understand this, then in the space, no one can abuse you. Because you know everything is within you and you have the strength to overcome and to take. It's our responsibility, now that we have found the strength of our soul, to understand that it's the responsibility of our physicality to look after that soul. As long as the soul is a gift to our existence. Death is not the end. Death is the beginning of a non-dimensional existence for what we nourished and nurtured. The body of the man is an incubator for the soul of the man, and no more. The womb of the mother was the incubator for physicality to create it, and in maturing it, the physicality of the body of the man has to let go of the soul, as it's matured to exist in all dimensions of the creation. In a way, our physical body is a transition time for creation of the soul, the maturity of the soul, and understanding of the totality of the soul. Why we get educated in different ways, in different paths, is that when we go into the spans of universe, we'll find out that we cannot be abused anymore. As we have learned ourselves, the temple of God is within God and which is within us. Any other question?
Okay. I'd like to see if there's any questions that are particularly relevant to what Mr. Keshe has been discussing. I do have a couple of other questions which may or may not be relevant.
What I would like to ask you, as many of the Keshe Foundations have done before, take the peace message back to the embassies of the Islamic world and the others. And take the message of the Universal Council, the core team, will find out, it will have the effect of it for the man to read, and it will reach, because it's done in sincerity of the soul of the man, to the soul of the man. I cannot ask you, because it's too much, to give to the physical life of the soul of the Saudi Arabia government and the king and the rest, because there will be injustice to humanity. They have to understand themselves that what is done is wrong, what is getting done is wrong, and what they have done to them is wrong. You see, we opened the hand, literally, of Vatican in trying to create an uprising in communist nations. Communist against communist. And the forces of the ISIS was supposed to be used to do the mayhem. Now the Vatican has supported the others to do the same people. Now the people are moved into Middle East to create mayhem between Iran and Islamic world, Qatar and the others. The guns are paid for years ago, now has to be used. Now you see suddenly how this thing has popped out in the, again, the same name, the same group, the same people. If we managed to stop a war in China and Korea area, now we can do the same here. We become a force of peace, and our wish is our command. As I said, I advise the Iranian government to call the Saudi leaders and the Persian Gulf leaders for a lunch, not a peace talk, and shower them with love and care the way we do Iranian hospitality. They know. Whenever you go, the Saudi royal family, they can't get the Arab food, they say, we go to the Iranians. Tell them, come to the Iranian restaurants, you're quite welcome. We change them with the food of our soul, not with the anger and guns which are paid by Vatican. This sudden action out of nowhere came because the guns were supposed to be used in China. Now they have found a home for it because the budget has to be met. I wish, and my dearest wish is, the faster the stones of Vatican return to Colosseum, the faster man will find true peace. Because we can handle the lions in Colosseum. We can't handle the thieves, the soul of the man in the name of the building. The same goes with the Jewish group. Your investment will flounder. And that will be because of the end of your cycle. Because the time has come for man to be at peace. The true peace, true understanding of the operation of peace will lie. Harassment and creating fear is part of the work of the wicked, work of thieves. And we've seen it. We talk about Iran and Saudi Arabia and the rest. We saw it in the court with DL and the police harassing people who gone there just to be.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Your voice is breaking up. I'm wondering if the microphone is okay. Is the battery okay on the microphone?
Why don't you stop? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Mr. Keshe. There was a problem with the audio here, and you're breaking up with sound like a bandwidth problem. Wondering if the battery is okay on your microphone. And,
yes, we are connected.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little better now. Yeah, that seems better. Let's try for that.
It depends if somebody comes on the network, because I watch there is no damage. I mean, there is no stoppage in transmission. Sometimes we get a bandwidth problem, but
Yeah,
it's
that's what it sounded like. Yeah, it's good now though. It
yeah,
seems
we're
so.
back.
Let's keep trying.
Thank you very much. What we have to understand is the time has come to put the guns down, and it's time to use the weapon of the soul of the man to elevate, to give. That by giving, the soul of all leaders find peace. The time has not changed. It is the work that we have to understand. This is what we have to go on, and that is in reality and in process what needs to be done. The whole process has become the reality of the work of the human race, and it's time for us to understand how it can be done and how it can be corrected, and we leave it for the soul of the man to do the job. Any other question?
Okay, is there anyone in the panelists who would like to ask a question at this time?
If nobody has a question, I can ask a question.
Mr. Keshe, I have a question for you just before.
Yes.
Oh, please, this is Dimitri from your private classes. When we activate the spaceship within us and experience fourth dimension astral plane, we go deep within our physicality and observe the reflection of the universe, and we enter a wormhole which takes us to that reality. Do we, very much like a plasma reactor spaceship that creates the gravitational magnetical fields of the destination, resulting in the infinity loop which it travels down the magnetic line, is that what the soul is doing? Does it create the gravitational magnetical fields of the destination, and is that what opens up the wormhole, please?
Hello?
Sorry, could you repeat
Hello?
that?
Sorry, we can't hear you, Mr. Keshe. Seems to be an interruption there. If we just give it a minute, it might clear up on his end. He may not have heard the full question, Dimitri. Might have to rephrase it there.
Okay.
Let's wait till we get him back on. Waiting for you, Mr. Keshe. think he needs to reestablish the connection. Okay, there's another question in the live stream about whether Mr. Keshe knows about Ab-e-Zam-Zam, the water of Zam-Zam. And if we are wanting to influence the Muslim world, we can use the water of Zam-Zam to influence change. Trevor asked that question. I don't know if that's appropriate, but I'm not sure. I've never heard of that before. Maybe someone knows about that. Okay. Perhaps, Dimitri, you can re-ask your question, and maybe we can use that to bring Mr. Keshe back in.
Do you want me to ask it now?
Well, maybe. I think it might. We need to fill in a bit of time here first.
Okay.
Sure.
So
maybe we can start a discussion about it that Mr. Keshe can enter into.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Keshe.
We had a total drop in all the nets.
Okay.
Would you like me to ask the question again, okay, Mr. Keshe?
Are we okay now,
yes.
Mr. Keshe? Okay.
Yes, please. It looks to me, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Dimitri.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Who's that?
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question. Mr. Keshe, when we activate the spaceship within us and experience the fourth dimension astral plane, we go deep inside our physicality, and we observe the reflection of the universe that we are part of as a whole, a living organism. When we travel to the fourth dimension plane, we travel down a wormhole. And my question is, there's no real choice from the mind, the observer of that experience. There's no choice in where the destination is. So my question is, very much like a spaceship that has plasma reactors, and it creates the gravitational magnetical fields of the destination, creating an infinity loop, which it travels down the magnetic of it. Is that what the soul is doing? Is that where the wormhole comes from? Is the soul creating gravitational magnetical fields of the destination it wishes to go, and that is what opens up the wormhole that the soul travels down?
What do we call a wormhole? That's the question. What do we call a wormhole? What do you call a wormhole?
I call a wormhole it's movement. It's movement that even though there is no physicality there, you can still feel the movement of travel, and there is also a small amount of vision. The vision is not really there until you come out the other end.
Maybe it's a path of travel. We would like to call it a wormhole. But is there a worm, or is it a field rotation that leads to this? We exist through our work and through the work of our soul, and in how and what we do. We exist through how we exist, and do we exist through our operation. And in so many ways we decide in how we perceive the creation and interaction of the operation of the soul of the man. This is part of what we have to understand. How is the life? How is the working of the emotional direction of the flow of life? And this is what will affect us. And is it the way to our soul? Our soul exists without the need for it to be imprisoned within the structure of our physicality. But at the same time, it needs our physicality to confirm its existence. And this is where the understanding comes in from. Is this a passage between our physicality and our soul we call the wormhole? Any other question?
Yes, we do have a question from, let me just get the name correct here again. I think it's Nguyen Chen. Mr. Chen, would you like to ask your question now?
Yes. Mr. Keshe, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The emitology of the work of religion is to bind the man to the religion, the attachment.
Can you repeat?
Emitology of the word religion is by the man to the religion, the attachment. Mostly the religion is the religion of the family. Someone is born in Catholic family, he is Catholic. Every nation said about a freedom. Do they give the freedom to choose the religion at 18 years old? If you can explain the religion, you can convince the people to unbind to the religion.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Could you explain it?
Yeah, because the religion, the work is to bind or to attachment someone to the religion. Mostly the people is born in the religion because his family is Catholic, he is Catholic. Someone is in the family of Muslim, he is Muslim. But everybody say about freedom. Freedom is he can choose his religion at 18. But someone can choose his religion? Nobody. Because the family won't convince them to take his religion all his life. Now it's time to deliver to the freedom, really freedom, he have to choose his religion. And one thing, I want to ask you, you say a matter, antimatter, and the dark matter. In physical, they see the matter and see the antimatter, but then they don't see the dark matter. And now the soul is the same thing. The soul have a conscious, unconscious, and the karma. You see, you can see, the people can see only the conscious. They don't know what is the unconscious. And the karma, nobody know about the karma. If you can teach them about karma, they know what they have to do. But
what is the karma to you?
Yeah, no, not to me, not to, but you know, everybody knows he is reborn. He have something underground to be born in this life.
Yeah.
But if you can expand rebirth in the karma, you can expand everything. But last time you have said Buddha is the big teacher of the soul. If you know the Buddha is the master of the soul, you have to expand like Buddha. It's the best way.
We explain things according to the understanding of a time. And in so many ways, we have to understand that the Western world, in so many ways, the understanding of the Western world has never been in the emotional level where the Asian or East Asia world has. The Western world understands the soul, the effect of the soul and operation of the soul totally different way than is done in the cultures of the East. Buddha could reach their understanding and the emotional state. That does not exist in the West. In the East, the man is very much aware of the balance in both dimensions, the physicality and the soul. We see more of these as we approach, or less of it as we approach towards the Middle East. As we come to the Western world, especially Western Europe, America and the rest, these things don't exist because what I call the factor of the emotion has been taken out of it. Everything is financially physical. And so many souls understand this, and those on the other side of the border, what I call Indian border, understand the other parts of the teaching which we teach, but the West does not understand. I always say the cultural strength of the emotion of the man has an Indian border. West of India, we are very balanced in Buddhism and the rest. On the west side of the India, we become Abrahimism and the rest of it. And these two need two different ways of teaching and understanding. And in most of my teachings, I try to educate the Western side to become to partial level of the understanding the east side of the Indian border. The emotion and the soul has been defined differently in the Western world. In the East, we don't have that problem because they understand the strength and connections. They connect to that part of the teaching. As I said to our knowledge seekers and what I call emotions, it's half of the teaching which we do has no meaning to the people on the East because it doesn't concern them. It's not something they've been brought up with. In the Ibrahim side, which is Indian border, Pakistan, Iran, the whole of Middle East, Europe, America, it's all been touched by prejudices in the understanding of the weakness of the man between his soul and physicality. This is something which us have to understand.
Yeah, yeah, Mr. Keshe,
Yes.
I understand what you said. I am in the same way with you. I'm agree. What you have teaching for us. I know it's very difficult to the Occidental to understand the karma, but you can explain about conscious and unconscious only. Conscious, when he is conscious to do something, he is thinking, but the unconscious is something he cannot control to do. Right?
Yes, let me explain conscious and unconscious in a different way, maybe.
Yeah,
Would it be better if we redefine it and call the unconscious the work of the soul of the man using the physicality? Because in certain point, we think is something which I explained this in teachings, but nobody picks on it. If the soul of the man is in charge of the physicality of the man, when the soul sees something and the physicality doesn't obey or carry out, it can interfere itself. You say, I do it subconsciously, or I did it without knowing. Or is it part of the operation of the soul that the physicality has no control over? If we redefine the consciousness and unconscious work as part of the consciousness when the physicality is present, and unconsciousness is when the soul takes order, or what you call takes hold or control of the work that it needs to be done. In so many ways, is it ourselves confirming the existence of the soul within us, but we choose the word to say unconsciously.
Yes, Mr. Keshe, I know it's very difficult to explain, but
it's not very difficult. It's very easy.
No, to explain to the Occidental, to the urban people. But you know, after me, the conscious is to live in the present now, and what is doesn't pass is in the future.
Yes.
And something is past is in the past. We cannot control them. Mostly the unconscious is uncontrolled by we have emotion.
You see, we could explain it an unconscious, or it's a consciousness or unconscious doing. But now that we understand the operation of the soul and the position of the soul, in fact being the master of the whole physicality, then now we can explain it very easy. What we said, we do it without knowing it, or we did this without knowing how. I explained this before. You know, you sit in the car and you drive for kilometers, but you're busy with something and say, oh, I arrived at the point of destination, I don't know how I got there. But have you ever stood still that in that time, the soul of the man, for protection of his understanding, you're busy with the physicality, has taken control of the physicality, is in charge of to protect itself, that it'll be reaching there. Many times we've done that, and we say we don't know. We get from A to B, I don't know how I got there, I was so busy. Because the physical part of the brain is busy with the emotions or whatever. The soul of the man who's responsible for his existence takes control of the physicality to get you to the destination.
Yes, I know. I understand.
Yes. But so
you have a but I have a but too.
Pardon?
You have a but, I have a but too. But it's something opposite to the conscious. But when you say but, you try to go in the other way. I know, because the
We
most,
don't go, there is no ifs and buts, is an understanding the presence of the conscious, the presence of
yeah.
the essence
This is
of the
right.
soul.
What I want to say, they have to live in the prison to be conscious what they do, but sometimes the conscious is how can I explain? But like someone is angry, angry,
Yeah.
angry. He cannot control himself.
Yes.
And this time, the unconscious control them. If people know about unconscious control them, they have to be conscious when he recognizes his unconscious, when he's angry. Now, I want to say to you, let the people see when he is unconscious and they control his unconscious, and no, not control, but he know he's unconscious. He can control himself. He have to calm down and he see the prison time. He's consciously present only. This is the best way to understand the soul.
That's the way you can explain it, and we have to respect it.
But this is the way the Buddha said. I don't say nothing. I say what Buddha said only. To be controlled at the present time, be conscious and don't let the unconscious control yourself only. Because by the attachment and other emotional, we become blind with our emotion. Like love someone and or hate someone, you be blind only.
It's one way to define it.
Yeah.
And we all define things according to what we understand. We have to respect that.
I know it's very difficult to see the unconsciousness of someone, to see our to see our
what you call conscious or unconscious is access to our soul and the operation of our soul. This is what is important.
Yeah. And one thing, you know, in Asiatic education, we know about 3 elements. We say that is the 3 jewel of the human. The first jewel is the soul. The second jewel is the yin and yang, and the third jewel is the matter. If we can control our mind, our soul, we can equal them. We have no disease. Second one, we can control the yin and yang to be equal. We have no disease. And now you are teaching us to how to control and to equal the matter of the body. We have no disease. I know, because if you can see the 3 jewels of the human, everybody become happy and the happiness come to everybody. To control our soul, to control yin and yang, and to control the matter, like you are teaching now. Thank you for your teaching for us, to give the third jewel to us.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Yesterday, Yesterday, I have presented the reactor. I have presented the way to control yin and yang. If you need, because I explain in English is very difficult. I can explain this in French.
Explain to the French-speaking
it's easier.
And then they can explain it to us.
Yes, I if you allow me to explain in French in the public teaching in French, I can do it for you.
Please do. Get in touch with the French-speaking section, and they'll look after you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Because if you can control the yin and yang, equilibrium to be balanced, yin and yang, the disease cannot come to everybody. I try to at 7 o'clock Paris time. I try to say to you, I say to them, I can explain to them in French. Allow me to do this way.
Okay, thank you.
Get in touch through the Facebook, the French Facebook, and try to all our French translations, translations and transcribing, and then we can bring it back in. Then we can understand you.
Because the Chinese traditional, they have only 5 elements. They cannot balance yin and yang. It's very difficult. So now I have found the 6 elements. The 6 elements. 6 is you can divide 3 by 3, and you can balance easily. I have working. I am I have seized the 6 element. Now I want to share my experience to the doctor, because I am not the doctor. I have just learned this one for only 2 years, but I found too much things inside here.
Please go through the French that they can translate it and bring it back to us as a knowledge. And thank you very much for sharing it.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we'll pass on to the next person now. We're at 3.5 hours at this point.
Okay.
And so let's, if you want, there's a question from Justin Smith, I believe. He wanted to be promoted to panelist. I'm not sure what his question is, but if we have time, Mr. Keshe, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Justin, are you there?
Yes, good morning. Hi, Mr. Keshe, Rick, everyone. So I was asking about what you were talking towards the religious end of things, where in essence, we're challenging the existence of everybody that we know, at least in their own belief systems. How would we, say in a better direction, go about without seeming arrogant and hurting or offensive, begin to explain what we all are maybe a little more understanding of at this point? Because literally walking around and talking to people, that raises a bit of concern, at least in conversations that I've had. So I'm just kind of looking for...
In what matter, in what level? I don't understand what you're
to explain that we are basically of godlike abilities to create, to be the creators of our own existence, to manifest things into our existence without telling them that they've been doing everything wrong their whole way by offending them, because literally dumping money into churches.
We don't need the thing is, this is what I said even in there's 2 ways to do it, and it's very much it's always, I explained the story of the king who had a dream that is going to die, and he brought the people in to explain what it means, because he knew he was going to die anyway, but he wanted to be confirmed in a way that he could accept it. And whoever came first and he said, you know, the king, you're going to die, he just beheaded them. And the guy came and says, long live the king, and the rest of it, and the rest of it, and the rest of it says. And then, as usual, the life comes to an end. And usually when we get to this point, we have to accept. And the king said, give him all the whatever he wants. And the minister said, they all said the same thing. He said, but this didn't hurt. I understood. We cannot go and demolish or put all things aside. We have to be able to make people to understand this is addition. When you don't accept the addition, is your lack of understanding. When we came to Ghana with the talk with the nuclear atomic people, I always said to them, the next step after nuclear, we went to the molecular to atom to nuclear. Now we understand this. So we are all atomic nuclear plasma physicists. And it was accepted because it was addition to this understanding of what they were. We can't go back and say what you did is wrong or whatever. It's for us to explain to them this is addition to the knowledge. When you say this is the other way, there is a resistance. But when is the addition, is a judgment of, do I know more? When you teach even about the soul, it's got to be explained, it's addition to the knowledge. Then it's for you to accept the addition or not. And nobody would like to be behind.
Very true.
So when you tell people you're wrong, it's not wrong. It says this is the addition to the knowledge. You have to judge it. This is what I understand of it. And when people go to judge, to read, and they understand more, they see more. And then you enlighten. Then this is, you serve the purpose. You enlighten them to understand more about themselves. Never tell people you're wrong. I usually do, is one of the things so you don't understand. But in fact, is the lack of adding to the knowledge, accepting that there is always an expansion of the knowledge.
To never put a cap on it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other question? Or shall we call it a day?
There's a couple of quick questions maybe for you here. Jason had asked in the Q&A, Mr. Keshe, can you explain more about the best way to create a vacuum?
This is a big scientific dilemma. What is vacuum to me is full of elements. A vacuum depends in what we call, you like to hear. What is sweet to your ear, that vacuum will fit in. A room, a box is vacuum from water, but there's still some residual of wetness on the walls of it. We vacuum the box, but we cannot get all the elements out because there's still, through the dynamism of evacuating the whole thing out, we have created a new cycle of interaction of fields which are freer to exist. If any of you have worked in the lab using the high vacuum level machines, -10, -12, -13, you understand there is always something coming out of this machine. It's sucking something out, but it's so tight nothing should be sucked out of it. This is because what we consider to be vacuum is still a field interaction between even the walls of the system, between the system and the container you're trying to reduce or take out of. Vacuum is the openness, freedom of motion of the elements, but we still can't take everything out. But there is one fundamental point. Nowhere in the universe it can be vacuumed, can be sucked out of the magnetic gravitational field. We cannot have, it's impossibility to have a vacuum of fields. We can create a maximum vacuum of matter element. But as we take matter elements out, we create a dynamism in the fields which themselves lead to creation of new matters. So if you understand the totality, the universe works on this basis. In some machines in Europe, We can achieve better than the space vacuum in our system, but we still see existence of matter because the fields are there. Now that you're more educated with the GANs and nano coating, you see you create a medium of the salt and you correct CO2. There is no connection. But if you put a vacuum or what you call no liquid and you just work between the plates, there is still material produced between the two that you don't see. If you leave your bucket empty and go, when you come back in a few weeks' time, you see materials appearing around, even if it's dry. Because the fields are in there. You cannot, there is nowhere in the universe which has a vacuum of field. We can have near enough vacuum of the matter state, but as we suck out in one direction, the elements which we use, the box, the glass, the jars or whatever, to create vacuum in, the top layers release themselves into it. And that's what happens in the universe too. Or the fields come to move, and then they lead to the creation of the matter state themselves inside it. Vacuum in a field level does not exist. In matter state we can reach certain points, but there's still an impossibility. And the higher you get in the vacuum, the more efficient travel of the fields you find. This is because it has nothing to interact with, so you see the full spectrum. I worked many years on high vacuum machines and understood this very well.
I was just going to ask you, Mr. Keshe, if you might consider doing more work like that in the near future.
No, we've gone to the level of the soul. We've gone to the level as the matter state does not. We are teaching now the modules to be able to use the energies which is within them, as we call the source of the creation within them, to create what they wish and moving in that direction. Because now you can create matter, as I said to them very recently. They become the masters to teach the others, in a way to guide the others how to be able to do this, that in the space they can create what they need, whatever they need. We have come from matter state into non-matter condition, and now we have to learn how from this non-matter condition we can create matter. We brought the physicality of the sperm and egg, we led to the creation of the soul, and then from that creation of the soul we dictated the shape of what created it. And now we don't go to the extent of killing, but in a way the freedom of the soul from the physicality which created it. But at the same time, in the span of universe somewhere, it's the soul wants to manifest itself in a matter state. So this is what we are teaching, how to create a state of matter from the soul. Energy of the soul, which is again is the field, it's the sun. The energy bestowed on the soul of the man is as much as stronger than the solar system, even the galaxy. Our sun manages very few planets. Our soul manages huge operation. Then you can understand the power of the soul of the man. If you look at the structure of the solar system, you look what you have. You look at the structure of the body of the man, which the soul is responsible for, see how he operates, he changes it, he puts it in order. So the compactness of it shows the power of it. Any other question?
We have Soraya who would like to ask, can you explain please the real purpose of CERN and the Hadron Collider?
Go and ask them, I never understood. The reality is that a large number of Iranian scientists are busy there with the plasma technology, And Iran is one of the major contributors to the CERN program in the background. And I never understood why our government is spending so much money in Europe and in America, but it's good, we understand more. But there's a lot of physicality into it. But it's part of the cycle of the knowledge, we have to learn more. The scientists are, as I said, the product of the knowledge of man. And each one of them brings a beauty. I never understood why we are testing the CERN we are doing. There is a lot of work done, it creates a lot of insight into the knowledge of the man, but I never understood it, and so I keep away from it. It's not I don't object to it, but it's part of the growth of the curvature of the growth of the understanding of the science of the creation. Those who become very close in the knowledge of CERN with the plasma, many of them become atheists. They don't believe in anything because they can't see anything. They change. I know one or two of them because they start seeing the operation of things which they cannot explain, and they see it as a kind of creation. It's very interesting. We need to support this kind of research because it allows us for us to understand more on the operation of the physicality side of the science. We have to be very, very open that we don't understand the totality. We need to understand it. Institute like CERN are a fantastic place where all the man's knowledge from all the corners of the planet come together to share. Some of the research they do is nice, some of them is we think is stupid, but they have results or they have a reason for doing it. Any other question?
I think we probably should let you go here, but Sabrina has something maybe I can read. It's a little etheric, you might say, but perhaps it needs to be said anyway, and you can make your comment at the end. Sabrina says in the Q&A, I saw a plasma spaceship, pink-colored, come out of a whole grain field a couple of weeks ago. It was not very big. Then I saw Mr. Keshe in the midst of a Tao, or the Tao, T-A-O. He was of adolescent age. Is this possible? The ship was not very big, maybe a meter. Am I going crazy, or is this related to reality? I was in a very soulful, emotional state, an infant of a tree I pray to since 9/11/2001 for peace on the planet. I was asking the mother of my soul above my head. It opened the collective emotion of Italy, which was very much in pain. I understood the whole pain was not only mine. I cried for the poverty and fear in the men. I trembled, and Naomi, who I have been praying for since the tragedy, came out of my body and joined with Fabio's soul in the tree. Can the plasma ship go through the planet?
I'll leave that to you.
That was a tough one, I know.
Thank you very much. Thank you for today. Please reflect on the work of, does not matter anymore what path of belief we believe in, but as a whole we elevate the soul of the Islamic world. That they come to understand the peace is the only option, the life of the man worth more than a few guns. And I thank the core team and the Universal Council team. I ask the world leaders not to intervene because they would have done by now, but in a way it's for the councils which we have set up to start understanding their purpose and their work. And understanding these tests will come for them to understand their power. Till you don't test it, you don't know what they carry. If their wish is, we shall see and say, oh, something. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
you cut out there briefly, Mr. Keshe. We hear you now.
Yeah, it's just we had a power switch here. We get the power cuts, so it goes to the generator. We fall out, we come back in. In so many ways, when we understand that our souls are all one, and in so many ways the collective soul has the power to change collectively a lot of things, then we understand our call to peace is the peace for all the nations and all the religions. And maybe next time we do as part of the what we call the call or blueprint for peace will be for the Jewish. The Jews have more need for peace than anybody else, that by them becoming at peace the rest of the world finds peace. No nation needs more, no religion needs more to be elevated in the dimensions of the peace as they've been left for some 5,000 years without any support. That by them becoming satisfied and elevated, the rest of the humanity finds peace. Thank you very much for today, and please do not forget, we need a lot of support to our souls for every person, every Muslim, every Christians, every Jew, every Buddhist, every path of belief. Open your souls and when they need it, they receive it. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And thank you, everybody on the planet for attending, and those off planet as well. And that'll end today's workshop, the 176th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, for Thursday, June 15th, 2017. Okay, I'll end the live stream for now.